Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? So happy Sunday, everybody. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic weekend. I'm Dan from Trading with Dan, and this is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour chart. So here we have it. We find ourselves fully and formally above our upper side resistance, a very aggressive move up from the lows of our wider range, a pullback to the absolute minimum level we could have pulled back, the upper quartile, the upper 25% pullback, obviously of the wider range, and then bounced off that and then found our way straight through. So this is obviously very bullish price action. We need to see obviously when CME and traditional markets open up later this evening and tomorrow, how we fare in this zone. But ultimately our only real test for the bullish scenario is that we remain above this support level, basically. So yeah, we can accelerate higher, we can take out this level, we can trade around this zone, we can even just trade in a straight line up in towards the 50,000s, even into the 50,000s. But as long as we hold this 42,000 area, 44, call it between 41 and $42,000 area, then I think overall we will be okay. We could very likely form ourselves a similar sort of sideways pattern, just within this wider range here, so anywhere between 42 and 58,000, and then yeah, we could find ourselves ping-ponging around that for the next month or so. But we'll obviously have to see what happens. Like I said, in much the same way that when we were in this range, all I was really concerned about was that we hold 30,000. And now that we are basically above 42,000, not that it is as much of a concern, because we can fall back into this range trade sideways, and as long as we hold 30,000, it's okay. But ultimately, if we basically establish a high value relationship for Bitcoin, then yeah, 42,000 will then be the level that realistically we don't want to lose if we are just going to remain obviously looking very good. So yeah, things are looking good here. Obviously it's the weekend. We know that you can get erroneous reversion to the mean price action over the weekend, but yeah, we'll have to see. Over Ethereum Satoshi pairing, also, as we can see, broken out of all its its two potential downward sloping trend lines, and its most important, for a break of the lower high pattern, horizontal trend line, horizontal resistance, which was this level here. So this is looking just looking bullish in every way now, for a continuation onwards and upwards to what we have as a projected target of all the way up here. And if we do, just for the sake of a bit of fun, want to work out roughly how much that is in percentage terms, that is about a 60% increase in the price of Ethereum relative to Bitcoin, that is. So say Bitcoin 2x's from here, obviously it would be a 60% increase on the 2x of an Ethereum price, and because that would be the all things being equal, which could give us a very nice US dollar value price. So there we go, and I suspect that would be over $8,000. Actually, it would easily be over $8,000 if we had the Ethereum Satoshi pairing up here, and we had Bitcoin at a 2x of 44,000, so 88,000. We would have a lot higher than $8,000 Ethereum level. I'm not gonna do the maths and work it out right now, but yeah, the USD pairing as well, above its macro level, looking great here. We did say that these had pretty much come into alignment, our major areas for Ethereum and Bitcoin, as in the charts were kind of looking the same. They were both kind of looking as good, and as you can see, it looks very similar here. Ethereum is above its macro level in the same way that Bitcoin is above its macro level here as well. So yeah, that is looking good. And then similarly for Ethereum, like we said, similarly, just got to hold this support. and then yeah, we can bounce around in here, trade about, but ultimately hold this level will be looking good. Lose this level, especially on a over the next few days, and then we can expect this to be a sort of swing failure above, and then we would have to expect some lower prices, maybe even down so far as 2400. But yeah, that's not what I would necessarily predict is going to happen, but obviously in the case that we do find ourselves back below, obviously Bitcoin as well, back below 41,000, and yeah, first stop 38,000, and then yeah, see at what point we can print a low in, obviously with that downward price action, if that is to happen. But yeah, I'm not saying that will happen, but that's obviously what we need to watch out for. If that is the scenario that plays out, the DXY, the dollar, had a nice move up. It basically broke above our resistance level here, so it is now back in this higher zone, with what looks like a quite nice higher low here. So yeah, is this going to continue onwards and upwards? It potentially can do. Don't forget, this is just a measure of the dollar against a basket of other fiat currencies. I mean, we see this quite a lot now, talked about in financial, especially crypto related things, because everyone kind of knows there's a correlation between the dollar going up and Bitcoin going down. So obviously people are coming out with the excuses, and everyone's pointing out, well, it's against other currencies, and yeah, it is true, it is against other currencies. So yeah, there is I've also had been saying that for a while as well, but yeah, it's against other currencies. So Bitcoin, you could say, is a real thing, it is pretty much classed as a commodity. So yeah, it can go up whilst the dollar goes up, because this is just a dollar relatively weaker to other fiat currencies basically. But we all know that. The 10-year making a good move back up. This is what we need to see. We had this downward sloping trend line. We've broken above it now. We need to just stabilize anywhere in this area, drift our way back up towards the top hand, and then all that's going to happen then is that we don't need to worry so much about what this is doing. Obviously, a continual trend down in the yields does indicate bad things to come, and obviously a trending upwards too high in the yields in itself will cause bad things to come. So that's why we kind of want a happy medium, a sideways trading at a reasonable level where it's not going to cause any undue alarm. Bitcoin dominance had a nice wick below our support level, but bounced its way back up and now hovering around there. But I mean, we shall see. Bitcoin has broken into a new range, so as Bitcoin potentially becomes a bit of a focus, I know obviously Ethereum itself is a bit of a focus as well. It's a lot of a focus obviously with what is going on with Ethereum. Ultimately, we do not need to lose sight of the fact that Bitcoin does lead the market, and whilst it is in a new range of price discovery, it is potentially going to impact on the altcoins more so and lead, and obviously drain some liquidity out of that. So we can expect the Bitcoin dominance to maybe struggle. Maybe the Ethereum Satoshi pairing would look better as that individual particular altcoin, but as the altcoin market as a whole, whilst Bitcoin is making some wild price discovery moves, you would expect them certainly to lag. So yeah, other than that, look at those stochastics, because we do know we've got the big boys up here that are helping us out, that are basically keeping us long higher time frame bullish, which is what we need, which is what we were kind of looking at. 4 hour a bit extended here, as we can see. 10 hour no doubt is going to be extended also when we just sit here and wait for it to load up. Yeah, 10 hour extended and looking to turn back down. 12 hour still got a room to run though, looking good. Daily has turned back up as well, so looking good. 2 day starting to turn over a bit. 3 day looking good. 5 day just got all the room to run. It's got all the way to go. It's got all-time highs potentially if it gets all the way to the top. And then certainly with the weekly, if the weekly ends up back up here, there is pretty much no doubt in my mind we will be at new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Bi-weekly looking to turn up here as well, and then the monthly getting that little bit of a king of those. Yeah, so obviously we do ultimately, we know we are looking good on the higher time frame stochastics, and we are looking good for this being a low, and now we are going to continue upwards. You can kind of squint and see a very large head and shoulders here, and obviously this is only a small amount of price action that would invalidate that potential sort of look. Then yeah, we obviously need to maintain and keep going, and if we do, yeah, realistically you have to expect we are going to take out these highs and find out, probably most likely find our way up to 100,000. If we take out these all-time highs for Bitcoin, I do think we will hit 100,000. Maybe the 100,000 becomes the new 20,000. It gets maybe ever so slightly front run, and then we have like a bit of a prolonged pullback like we did back in, well, 2018, 2017, 2018. Maybe that happens. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't. There is obviously, crypto is looking good from a fundamental perspective for people using it, just adoption generally, but also it is now drawing a lot more attention, and it has from obviously Finance 1.0 people that just don't want to lose their grip on their Ponzi scheme. So there is obviously, the bigger you become, like the more attention you're going to attract, and the more trouble people are going to try and cause you. So yeah, Bitcoin's got that to contend with, but like ultimately the flip side is that is happening because it's getting adoption and people are using it, and it is great, and also because people understand that fiat currencies are basically toilet paper, and we all know they all basically demise. They all end in basically their intrinsic value of zero, always, all the time, always. We all know that, every single one in history. So ultimately we all know that is where they are going. So there you go. Yeah, so there we go. That is it, guys. Apologies for no video yesterday. But yeah, looking good. But like I said, we do need to wait for those traditional markets, see how they digest this news, see what the dollar does, see if we do basically move and print new highs in this medium term upward move. In which case it is going to put some people off risk assets. Regardless of it being a measure against other fiat currencies, it's going to put some people up. But then we've also got crazy stuff going on in the US. They've got like a bit of a, it's not a real crisis because they can print and dish out as much money as they want, they don't care, but they've got a bit of a moral crisis of picking winners and losers sorts of things. I mean, it's okay when the Fed picks like winners and losers between like the big banks and that, like it's like they play like a different game, and the regular people don't care. But regular people are property investors, regular people do rent houses. This is sort of like a regular person picking winners and losers, and it's clearly a bit more difficult, and yeah, and a bit more yeah, just a bit more difficult. I mean, let's face it, they want to just bail everybody out, especially because ultimately the money just feeds up to the top. It is just going to the richer people that own the houses. So there you go. They do want to do it. It's just a case of obviously there'll be opposition. It's not good optics. It's not good moral hazards, but it's not good moral hazard wise, but it's gonna happen. And anyway, and I think that is gonna once they start doing things more crazy like that, they kind of know they are massively reducing the reputation of the US, its government, its political system, its social order, and ultimately its currency. And they know that they have their exorbitant privilege of their currency been the reserve asset of the world, and that is clearly what they are. They will ultimately lose when they start doing wild, crazy things like that. So there you go. Anyway, there we go. So this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.